Welcome to another session of Business Startup Training. Today we'll be looking at divorce and setbacks. This is presented by accounting lecturer. Our aim is to get a better understanding of how to deal with setbacks and relationship challenges. Our objectives are forming relationships in life, business relationships, relationship breakdown, healing from a bad relationship, and then we're going to integrate the business concept of Porter's 5 forces. Now, in terms of forming relationships, how does this occur? And what are some of the steps that we can maybe look at? It is said in relationship, one should make sure you meet the right person. That's a controversial statement in itself, because the probability of meeting the right person with 7 billion people on the planet is highly challenging. But that's a recommendation. Now, but others say it is important to be the right person. Is that a contradict? It's more of a contradict to the first statement. So you're taking the blame of the person being wrong, and you're also putting the blame on the person being right, being wrong. So you're taking the blame from outside and accepting it yourself. So we see that you can look at it from both ways. However, good solid connections can make or break a business. That is important. So you have to be very, very careful in terms of who you allow in that inner circle of connection. You need people who are in it for you. Now, to determine who is in it for you is quite critical, because sometimes you might think that someone is in it for you and they may not be. So it's critical to actually get to the point of knowing, but it takes time and years to actually build that up. But it is important that you have people who are in it for you and want your business to succeed. Because then parting when success occurs is difficult. Because sometimes if you meet the wrong person, or you are in relationship and business with the wrong person, to part is difficult, because it could be costly, because not everybody is able to handle success. Some people are happy when there's no success, but when success occurs, they become unhappy. So you have to think about all these variables, and this is quite critical in business. Now, in terms of business relationships, we need to look at some of the key stakeholders. First of all, we know that we can establish that customer is a critical relationship. You need to have good relationships with your customers. So that's paramount. That's number one. Also, suppliers, that's an extremely important relationship, because they can make or break your business. So that's another relationship you do not want to mess up. And employees, and good employees, is also a critical relationship. You want to ensure that you make that relationship with with right employees, and have the right employees in your organization. Relationship with the government is also important in terms of taxes. If you do not have a good relationship, you'll have fines. They will change regulations, and it becomes difficult even to operate your business. And then we have bank and financial institutions. They are the ones that actually manage the money coming in and going out. You need to have a good relationship. And as the business or businesses grow, you want to also have a personal banking service, so you can have the bank manage, giving you best yields for your excess cash, and what are the various loans packages that could be offered to you that will allow you to get to the next step. Now, when a relationship breaks down, what are the steps to deal with it? Now, we know in terms of marriage and that relationship of marriage, divorce occurs. And in a divorce, there's a breakdown of a relationship. And in divorce, there is losses. You will lose family, you lose children, you lose money. you lose a partner. All these factors tend to play in terms of that relationship breakdown. But in business, when there's a relationship breakdown, one loses a key member of the team. For example, you lose a key employee, or you lose a key supplier that could make or break your business, a key customer. You could also, lose a key investor. These that could damage a business and could cause a lot of irreparable, challenges that you really do not want to deal with. Sometimes it's possible to repair the relationship, and sometimes it's not possible to repair the relationship. So sometimes you might need to think, okay, is this a relationship worth fighting for? And also, you might also think, is this a relationship that it's not worth fighting for? But another thing we need to take note of is that negotiation skills are required to repair a relationship when it gets into a bad state. So, and if you are able to repair it via negotiation, try. But if not, you need to accept the loss, learn the lesson, and move on. And the quicker you do so, the quicker you get to the next step of healing. So let's move on to healing from a bad relationship. So when healing from a bad relationship, it takes time to heal. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen tomorrow, the next day, or the following day, or maybe in a year's time. It may take years. The first thing you also need to take note of is don't blame yourself or the other person even when it's hard. So no finger pointing. You don't need to blame anyone. It's maybe not their fault, neither is it your fault, but just maybe a circumstance, situation. Pick up yourself, brush off, and move on. So once you've accepted that this is where it is, you have to brush off and move on. The quicker you accept defeat and move on is the quicker you can move on to the next opportunity. Because there are lots of opportunities. You may lose what you think is the best opportunity, but then it sets you up for an even more fantastic opportunity. So you just need to learn from the mistake or the bad choice, and then move on. Now let's have a look at Porter's 5 forces. I think this is a critical concept because it then ties into and puts into sharp focus the idea of relationship and relationship breakdown and all of that, and what can happen, or what are the impediments that a business or businesses may go through in this regard. Now, it is important to note that we need to look at threats. Threats are competitors able to enter into the business environment easily, because the entry of threats is an important part of the business experience. How easy is it to get competitors? Then we have the bargaining power of buyers. What's the level of bargaining power buyers have? And the threat of substitutes. Can a customer get another substitute easily? And also we look at the bargaining power of suppliers. How much do they have? So in terms of looking at it critically, the threats coming in, who is coming in and how many are coming in, and the rate at which they are coming in, that can dictate how your business will survive. The bargaining power of customers can dictate margins. If they have a lot of bargaining power, then the margins are going to be thin, which means that your gross profit is going to be thin, and net profit is more likely to be extremely thin or non-existent. So that is quite critical. Then in terms of substitutes, can they easily move on? Do you have a competitive advantage? Can they move on to your competitor? And what do you offer that is better, way better than your competitor? That is quite critical. And in terms of suppliers, again, this will also affect margins. So if you do not have that relationship with supplier where you can get a good discount if you buy more, so you can benefit from economies of scale, then or you can get the just in time. Once you need a product, you get it. So that is important. So that will dictate how your business survives and through the various stages. So we've looked at forming relationships in life. We've looked at business relationships. We looked at relationship breakdown and healing from a bad relationship. And we've also looked at Porter's 5 forces, and we've applied the principles thereby. I hope you've learned something from this and you can apply these principles in your business startup so that you can reap the successes. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you.